Hey, you guys. Hello, hello. I want to talk to you today about decisions, and I want to ask you how great are you at making decisions? How great are you at doing that? Because how you're making decisions every single day is what's dictating your life. But you're only ever going to make decisions based on what your current self-image is. Ask yourself right now, what motivates your decisions? And there's a lot of different motives. Okay, that's like a whole other topic for another time, right? I mean, if you're looking at the motives for decision making, there's like we might make a decision based on self-preservation or finances or love or sex or power and fame, fear, revenge, freedom of body and mind, motive to create or build something immaterial. Okay, so out of those nine, you're motivated by one of them, guaranteed. But there's a difference between motive and motivation, right? Like, huge difference, because motivation, it comes from this outside force. Okay, the people that become truly great are driven by internal motives. And these motives will just crash through anything that tries to get in their way. Anything. So if a person goes to a personal development seminar, webinar, or conference, they get totally jazzed up. I was talking about this last night when we were on our limitless workshop, right? I used to do this all the time. I'd make a decision, I'd go to a conference and I'd get myself all pumped up, right? I was like vibing here, I was high vibing, right? But then I'd go home and I'd keep running at that frequency, but only for a little bit. Like it was a short period of time. Because what happens is my motivation eventually begins to go down, right? So where did my motivation go? Right? The motivation that I felt when I was at the workshop was an outside force. The workshop was an outside thing. Okay. And once the external stimulus is gone, my motivation would then go as well. Okay. And really think about this, right? Like, people do this, they'll all the time. They get around a certain person and they're like, oh, I'm all pumped up. I hear this all the time after people talk to me. They're like, oh my God, I get so pumped up after I talk to you. I'm like, and that's great. I'm glad I can bring that out in you. However, my goal for you is that you feel the way you feel all the time. Like, from the moment you wake up in the morning, that's how I want you feeling. But we have to bring it out from inside of you. And then how you make decisions will follow from that. Right? When I started getting my motivation from within me and from my desire, that's when I stopped asking everybody else to make my decisions for me. Because I'm not going to lie to you, I've always been a fairly confident person. People would have described me as confident. I would have described me as confident. Yet I couldn't make a decision, you guys, to save my life. I let everybody else make decisions for me, down to like poor Dave. Oh my gosh, he'd be like, "Hey D, what do you want for supper?" I'd be like, I never knew. Or I'd go to a restaurant. Like, I made my decisions based on money, right? So I'd go to a restaurant, I'd have a menu of things in front of me, and I would make my decision based on what costs what, right? I'd really want the lobster, but the chicken was $20 cheaper, so I'd have the chicken. I'm like, but I don't want the chicken, I want the lobster. Okay. And I wouldn't make decision based on what I wanted. Don't do that anymore, but that's how I did it. Okay. And my outside reflected that. I would almost get to where I wanted to go. Okay. But it's really crucial to understand that you cannot rely on outside forces for your motivation. When I work with people, my goal is not for them to rely on me. It's for me to give them the tools and resources so that their number one is them. Okay. But motivation must come from inside, from your goal, your passion, your purpose, your vision. This is then what taps right into your motives. Okay. When you treat the motive like a flame that you throw gas on, it explodes. Okay. But it has to come from within you. And Napoleon Hill, he said, people who fail to accumulate anything that they want in life, without exception, have the habit of reaching decisions quickly and fall back slowly, if at all. How do you make decisions? Do you make them quickly? Or are you, I need to sit on it? And then we justify this to ourselves like it's a badge of honor, like, oh, I need to let things sit, it's my personality. I'm like, yeah, it's your personality, but do you want to get shit done, or do you want to get shit done? Like, I guess that's my personality. But guess who's getting something done? Because we're making decisions. And when you're so clear on where you're going, you guys, you can't help but make decisions from that space. You always will. You'll make decisions from there, because it's like, I know where I'm going, and either this decision's going to get me there, or this decision over here is going to make me kind of like swerve. I don't want to swerve. I just want to go right to it. Right? Because everybody's like, oh, I have no time and I have no money. And it's like, if you want to regain, because you're not going to create time, doesn't you, like, and money's everywhere. So if you want to have this freedom that you're talking about, make decisions like the person that's free. Right now, you're not making the decisions like the person that's free. That's why you have no freedom, or you feel like you have no freedom. Okay. But your decisions and your ability to make them swiftly and go back slowly is one of the very key aspects of every successful person. We see quick decision making in so many successful people. They don't even waver on it. And they're not worried about making the wrong choice. I used to be so worried about making the wrong choice. That's what ultimately why I couldn't make a decision to save my life. Because I was like, oh God, what if I make this decision and then this person's not going to like me? And then what if I make this decision and then this person's not going to like me? When I just started making decisions based on where I was going and my desire, I also stopped caring about what everybody else desired, because they were going to make decisions based on them. Right. And this is where, even like when I study people like Napoleon Hill, he brings up other people like Henry Ford and his ability to make decisions really quickly and then sticking to them. And you don't have to worry about, like, if you're making decisions, I mean, you're always going to make it based on your current level of awareness. But if you don't grow your awareness, then you're never going to make decisions differently. And it's just like this big cycle. Right. But like, Henry Ford was never worried about making the wrong decision. He just knew he was going to make a decision. And if he needed to pivot, then he would pivot. And that was just it. Right. But we get so caught up in like, how am I going to make this? And what's this going to look like? And it's such a waste of energy. Right. And this is where you make the decision, you stick to it, and you continue to do that. And you will see huge success. Okay. He didn't put off making decisions. Okay. So think about it. Like, do you put off making decisions? I'll get back to you on that one. Do you allow others to make your decisions for you? I hear it from so many people. They'll say, oh, I have such a procrastination problem. And it's like, you don't have a procrastination problem. You have a desire problem. You don't know what you want, and you so badly don't know what you want that you can't make a decision around it. And so you're just like, well, I guess I just put the whole thing off because I don't know what it's going to do for me. And like, I don't see the plan. Whereas when you can see the plan, think of things that you don't procrastinate. It's because you're going to get rewarded at the end of it, and you can see it. You can see it all happening. Okay. But how you make decisions is a habit. Even indecision is a decision. Okay. But making decisions quickly, this is what successful leaders do. And they don't stick with their choices at any cost, but instead they're not afraid to adapt. They're not afraid to say to someone, yeah, I made that decision based on my awareness then, and now I have a different level of awareness. I know some more things, and I'm going to do this decision now. Right? But making the same decisions over and over and over and expecting a different result, kind of the definition of insanity, yes? It's not up to anyone else to be in love with what you're up to and make decisions for you. It's up to you to be in love with what you're doing so that you make decisions for you. That's it. But nothing happens until a decision is made. Nothing happens. When we feel this like vibration and feel just off, it's because we haven't made a decision. Make a decision about whatever you're trying to choose, and you'll notice that feeling will go away every single time. Every single time. Like I was even chatting with someone who had registered for, I was actually talking to a bunch of people that had registered for our event coming up. And they're like, a couple people were like, oh, I forgot I had registered for it. And a couple people were like, oh, I registered for so many different things. And it was just so interesting because I was like, so you're in the habit of registering for a bunch of things, but you don't ever decide to go to any of them. But you think you're a rock star because you registered for it, right? Like registering for something's not going to get you the results. It's just going to put into your subconscious mind and like re-justify your programming on the fact that you don't show up for things that you say you're going to do, right? You have to make a decision to then go to whatever it is you say you're going to go to, right? And then you have to make a decision with what are you going to do with that information, or else you're going to end up like me, who was like, okay, I made a decision to go to the conference. Woo, I'm a rock star. But then I would go home and wouldn't do anything with it. Like, what was the point of even going? To get a dopamine hit for 3 days? What's the point in that? Right? It wasn't until I made the decision to say, no, I don't want a dopamine hit for 3 days. I want to wake up every single morning being super clear on where I'm going, being able to make decisions from that space, and actually getting what I want in life. Like I wouldn't be in Barbados right now if I didn't make a decision to come to Barbados. Because it's not that the opportunity hadn't been presented to me. Maybe it looked different the time before it was presented to me, right? But when it came at me, I had to make a decision. And the number one thing I did was I was like, hey, Delane, goal achieved. So do we do this? And she was like, oh, hell's yeah, you do this. And it was a no-brainer. So then when everybody came up to me after and was like, really? Why? Blah, blah, blah. Does it make sense? And it's like, well, it doesn't need to make sense to you because it makes sense to me. And I'm confident in that. And I talk to so many people who want confidence. And I'm like, then know where you're going and know how to make decisions from that space. It's a game changer, absolute game changer. Okay, but the main point is that you got to get clarity first. When you're like, the reason I couldn't make a decision on even a freaking menu was because I didn't know what was the point of me having to make that decision. Well, I make decisions like if I'm at a restaurant now, this is what I do. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm at a restaurant. A, what do I want? B, what are my health goals? Right? Because that's what food is. It fuels your body. It's the only point of it. That's the point of food, to fuel my body. So if I have health goals, me eating a burger 8 days a week is not going to cut it. Right? So I got to make decisions from where I'm going. Does that make sense? It has nothing to do with the price. Like, and when I literally took the price out of it, I was like, I base things now on what's my goal and what do I want? That's it. That's how I decide what to eat on a menu now. How easy is that? I don't even look at the price. I may as well just put my hand over the right side of the menu and just go. Right? So if I go, oh, I've been eating a lot of red meat lately. Health goal. Okay, I'm going to stick with a whatever. Like a salad or we eat a lot of fish here in Barbados, right? Like this is the type of stuff, like that's how I'm going to make my decisions. Okay, learning how to make decisions, this isn't taught in school. It's crazy. And it shapes your entire life. And now what we have is we have a bunch of adults that don't know how to make decisions. And I was one of them. Don't worry about it. Okay, but the decisions you make today are going to dictate the direction of your life tomorrow. And the decision you made yesterday are dictating what's going on in your life right now. Like you want to know why you have the results you have right now. Look at the decisions you made last week, last month, last year. Your current situation's very predictable. And if it's not clear to you, I always tell people, go back, look at your bank statement and your calendar. It'll be very clear. Where do you spend your time? Where do you spend your money? Where did you decide to? Right? So if you look back and you go, so I'll just keep going with health, okay, and eating. So if I was like, all of a sudden I hop on the scale and I'm 50 pounds heavier, 20 pounds heavier. It doesn't really matter. Okay. And I say, damn, that snuck up on me. How did that happen? Go back, look at your bank account, look at your calendar. If you've been sitting around and eating out for 3 meals a day, there's your 20 or 50 pounds. Okay. And it's that simple, right? But you made a decision to do that, and that gave you your current results. So if you want different results moving forward, say you now want to release that 50 pounds, you're going to have to make different decisions, right? So that in 6 months from now, you look back on your 6 months of bank statements, 6 months of calendar, and you've made different decisions. Okay. I've witnessed so many people making decisions based on what they have, and then they wonder why they never move out of what they have. Because they don't know how to make decisions, and they don't know where they're going. And it's kind of a scary thought. Okay. Many, many years ago, you guys, I made the decision to only make decisions based on what I want. That's it. And this habit has served me very well in my life, and it continues to expand me every single day. Okay. I want you to get in the habit of making goal achieved decisions. This is like advanced decision making. So I don't need to, I can say, yep, I can go out for lunch, and I already know in advance if I have health goals, or I've gained the 50 pounds and I'm trying to release the 50 pounds. If they shove the chocolate cake in my face, it's a no. No, thank you. I'm good. Why? Because I made the decision in advance based on what I want, my desire to release 50 pounds. Right? Like, we make advanced reservations for an airplane or a like restaurant. Keep going with this theme, right? All the time, because it releases confusion. Right? We do the same thing with renting a car. Same reason. Think of the problems you would eliminate in your life by making decisions in advance based on where you're going, not where you currently are. It's an absolute game changer. Absolute game changer. I'm going to go deeper with this, you guys. I'm just getting this feeling. Okay. I'm going to do a full workshop on this. Okay. 2 weeks. We're going to go in on how to make decisions. We're going to dive deep into this. Stay tuned. I'll post it about you guys. I'll post it for you. Okay. It'll change your life. Absolute game changer. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really want you to look at, how are you currently making decisions? And how does you, with all of your goals achieved, how do they make decisions, and what's the difference? I want you to start looking at that. Okay. And be prepared. My workshop's coming up. Okay. See you.